Alright, so far we have our application is able to add tasks, and it goes into our local storage, but we have no way of seeing that aside from using the Chrome tools, which obviously isn't optimal. So we need to create a function called display tasks that will list them out, spit them out in this table, and run every time this page is loaded. Alright, so let's go ahead and go to our main.js file. And the display tasks function isn't going to have an event handler because I just want it to run right away. So right here I'm just going to say display tasks, okay, and that's just going to run it. Now if I leave it as is, we're going to get an error saying that there is no function called display tasks, so we need to create that. Alright, so we're going to say function display tasks. Alright, first of all, we need to get our tasks. So we're going to create a variable called task list and set that to json.parse. Okay, and we're going to in here we're going to say LocalStorage dot get item tasks. Okay, so that's going to get it, and it's going to parse it as JSON. Alright, now let's say if task list is equal to, I'm sorry, if it's not equal to null, then we want to sort it. Alright, because we want the date, we want the top to be the most recent. Alright, so task list equals task list dot sort, and then we need to create a helper function which is going to be called sort by time. Okay, and that's a little complicated to do the sorting here, but let's just create that function before I forget. So function to sort tasks. Okay, so we'll say function sort by time. This is going to take two fields. We'll do A and B. Alright, and then create a variable called A time. And we're going to set that to A dot, and then the field that we want to sort by, which is going to be task time. And then we also want to set B time and set that to B dot task time. Okay, and then we want to return. And this is a little bit strange here, this syntax, but I'm going to say A time is less than B time. Oops. B time, and we're going to say -1. And I'm sorry, I can't really explain everything that's going on here because I fully don't explain it. Just know that this is going to sort it by time. So A time is greater than B time. Alright, and then one parenthesis over, we're going to do a question mark, and then a 1, and then a colon, and a 0. Okay, so that should sort it for us. Okay, I know it might be a little confusing. Oh, this should be var. Okay, we might have to come back to this if there's any errors. Alright, so back to display tasks. Okay, so this here basically is going to sort tasks. Okay, next, what we need to do is we need to create a for loop. or I'm sorry, an each loop, a jQuery each loop, to see if we have any tasks, and if we do, we're going to loop through, display that task. It'll check again. If there's another task, it'll display that one, and so on up until there's none left. Alright, so first thing we want to do is set, what's going on? We want to set a timer, I'm sorry, a counter for our loop. Alright, so we'll say variable I is equal to 0. Alright, next we want to check tasks. Okay, so we're going to say if LocalStorage dot get item tasks, and we're going to say if it's not equal to null, then we're going to move on. Alright, so we want to loop through and display. Okay, so we're going to use a .each loop. Okay, so in here we want task list, which is up here. Okay, so for each task list, then we want to run a function. Alright, and this function here should take a key and a value. Alright, and then we're going to get, ultimately what we want to do is insert our tasks into that table. So we need to define that table. I don't think we have an ID on it. Let me just check. No, we have classes, but we want to set this ID. I'm going to set it to task table. Alright, and then we'll go back and put that in right here. So task table. Alright, and then what we want to do is we just want to append. Okay, we're going to append table rows. Alright, so let's say tr for our table row. And I'm going to give it an ID. Okay, the ID is going to be the actual task ID, so we need to do some concatenation here so I can actually input JavaScript right here. So this will be value dot ID. Okay, and this value is coming from right here. Okay, we can actually get all of our values through there. Okay, so that'll be the ID. And then we want to add on to this, so we're going to use a plus. Alright, and then down here we're going to have a column, so TD, and then we're going to concatenate the task, so value.task will give us that. And I'm sorry if it's a little confusing. Sometimes I have a hard time with all this concatenation where you need to put these quotes and plus signs. So just bear with me. Now we just want to close that column. Okay, so we have the task. Next is going to be priority, I think. Alright, so we'll say value dot task priority. Alright. Okay, and then the next line is going to be the date. I'm just going to actually copy this right here. Actually, this should have a plus sign. Okay, so we get the date and the time. Whoops. Okay, value.date. Actually, no, this should be task date and task time, just so we don't get mixed up with any of the core methods. Then what we need is our links to edit and delete. Okay, so we're going to say plus, actually not yet, because we're actually going to use some HTML here. We're going to say href. Href is going to go to edit.html, which will be the form, but we need to tack on the ID of the task, or else it's not going to know which one. So I'm going to use a query parameter here with the question mark, and I'm going to say ID equals, alright, and then we want to concatenate on the actual ID, which we can get from value.id. Alright, and then when we go to the edit page, we should be able to grab this ID and do what we want with it. Okay, so let's now close this. I believe it should be right here. Alright, and actually I shouldn't do that yet. The text for this will be edit. Alright, and then next we need our remove. So we'll say ahref equals nothing. This is all going to be done through jQuery and JavaScript. Alright, let's see, ID. I'm going to give this a link in ID of remove class. I'm sorry, remove task. And then I think that's it. Okay, so we want to end that, and then this will just say remove a. Alright, and then needs to end the column with TD, and we'll put a plus sign. Alright, and then we just want to end the row altogether. So TR. I'm going to bring this up a little. Alright, so that should do it. Basically it's just going to insert a new table row with all the columns with dynamic data. Okay, so we can actually try it. Let's go ahead and reload. Okay, we're not getting anything. Unexpected token, line 38. 38 is here. Alright, so we have an issue with the time function. Oh, alright, so this here should actually be a question mark. Let's give that a shot. Alright, cool. So there is our task. Okay, all the information is correct. Let's try and add another one. Say meeting with boss, and we'll make that, let's make it high, and the date will be tomorrow, and the time, let's say 9 p.m. Okay, and you can see that the order we have pick up kids is first because of the time. If I go and change meeting with boss, oh, I'm sorry, we can't change it yet. We haven't implemented that functionality. So we do have our add functionality. Now we have our display. The next thing to do would be to create the edit functionality so that we can actually change our tasks, and then also remove and clear all. So we'll get to that in the next video.